Hi there! So today we're going to be going over a useful array method called forEach. So what is it? Simply put, forEach is a method that iterates through all of the elements in an array. At each iteration, it calls a function on the current array element. It does this by accepting a callback function, which can accept certain arguments. The first being the current element in the array, then the current index, and finally the array that the function was called on. However, the current index and the array are optional. Now, the second parameter for forEach is this arg, which allows you to pass the value for this. So forEach allows for some flexibility. You can keep it real simple with only passing a callback, and that callback only accepts the current element, or you can use all of the optional arguments. Okay, so how would we write one? Well, we'll make a simple one here. So we have a starting array. We can then call numbers.forEach, and we'll have one parameter x for the current element, and then we'll just use console log to log each number. Now I can add the index. We'll have a parameter now of idx, and then using template literals, I can call both the index value and the value of the element. Great, so those are two ways to use forEach. This is probably what you'll see and the majority of the time what you'll use, but you can add additional layers to forEach as mentioned earlier. Okay, on to some theoretical questions. Can you modify the original array inside of forEach? So you can modify the original array using the callback that is passed to forEach. Here you can add index and array parameters in the callback. The index will refer to the index at the current iteration, and the array will refer to the array we're calling forEach on. And inside of the callback, we can use array and index to target the index that we want to modify on the original array. Explain the differences between forEach and map. When would you use one over the other? So both are iterative methods where forEach returns undefined while map returns a new array. forEach is useful for when we want to perform operations that don't require a new array, like updating UI elements on the DOM. Map is useful when we want a new array and we do not want to modify the original. You might also be asked a question like, is it possible to stop or break a forEach loop? If not, how can you achieve similar functionality? So you cannot break out of a forEach loop. You might instead want to use a traditional for loop, or the sum method, where the loop will stop if at least one element returns true. All right, on to some coding questions. You might be asked to multiply each number in an array by its index position without the use of a new array. So here we'll use the forEach method. Then the callback that we pass to it will utilize the element, the index, and the original array. So we'll name the parameters x for the element, idx for the index, and r for the original array. Then we can say r at index will be equal to x times the index. Now we can double check our work and log the result of the original array. Another question you might be asked is to make a polyfill for forEach. So we'll name the polyfill forEach, for being the number 4, so a little play on words, and we'll assign a function that accepts a callback fn. Then inside we'll use a for loop, and at each iteration of the for loop, we will call the function and pass the element. Here, this refers to the array we are calling the method on. Now, there are some edge cases here, but I think in most scenarios, this basic implementation would be considered fine in an interview scenario. We can have a little bit more advanced video sometime down the road, but once again, I think for now, this is probably okay. Cool. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you in the next video, and please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Thanks.